Today, we continue our series titled 96 Bulls vs. If you didn't catch the videos in the series, we discussed the 96 Bulls against the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers, the 2003 Spurs, 2008 Boston Celtics, 2016 Cleveland Cavs, and the 2017 Golden State Warriors. I'd advise checking those out to get the breakdown on how I'd see a 7-game series going between them. You can click in the right-hand corner to check it out. But today, we continue the series with another legendary team. A team that won 3 championships throughout the 1980s, and that team with the 1986 Boston Celtics. While the 96 Bulls holds the second greatest regular season in history, they are the team to have collected the legendary record and put a cherry on top with the 4th ring in 6 years. Meanwhile, the 86 Celtics, powered by Larry legend himself, Larry Bird, might be one of the greatest teams constructed in the history of basketball, with a starting 5 and bench that reads like a Hall of Fame roster. So today, we will discuss these 2 championship teams and who I think would walk away the victors after a 7-game series. But first, if you enjoy NBA breakdowns and analysis, please subscribe to the channel. We are working for that 2,000 sub mark and can't do it without you guys. Also, check out the GOATcast podcast, streaming live every week, with guests and some wild takes. Thank you, and now let's get into this. The 96 Chicago Bulls, record 7-2-10, NBA best at the time, playoffs 15-3, became NBA champions, head coach Phil Jackson. After Michael Jordan's return near the end of the 94-95 season, the 1996 Bulls emerged as a juggernaut. They not only set the record for most regular season wins at the time, but dominated the playoffs en route to their 4th title. Key players: Michael Jordan, MVP, All-Defensive First Team; Scottie Pippen, All-NBA First Team, All-Defensive First Team; Dennis Rodman, Rebounding Champion; Tony Kukoc, Sixth Man of the Year; and Ron Harper, All-Around Perimeter Defender. The 1985-86 Boston Celtics, record 67-15, best in franchise history, 15-3 in the playoffs, NBA champions, head coach K.C. Jones. Dominant on both ends, the 86 Celtics were virtually unbeatable at home, 40-1, and featured perhaps the best front court trio in history. Key players and stats: Larry Bird, MVP, All-NBA First Team; Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, and Bill Waltman was Sixth Man of the Year. Perimeter dominance and defensive pressure. The Bulls featured 3 elite wing defenders in Jordan, Pippen, and Harper. Their length, quickness, and intelligence suffocated opposing offenses. They led the league in opponent field goal percentage and were 3rd in points allowed, 92.9 points per game. The defensive rotations were immaculate. Triangle offense and versatility. Phil Jackson's triangle offense enabled ball movement, spacing, and post play without needing a traditional point guard. It allowed Jordan and Pippen to create from the mid-post or wing, complemented by Kukoc's passing and Rodman's rebounding. Transition game and athleticism. With long arms, quick hands, and elite athletes, the Bulls turned defense into fast breaks. Jordan and Pippen in transition were nearly unstoppable. The pace wasn't always high, but when they ran, it was precise and lethal. Interior scoring and high-low game. McHale and Parrish were a nightmare down low. McHale's footwork and soft touch were surgical, while Parrish was a reliable finisher with a deadly mid-range jumper. Bird, a master passer, constantly fed them through high-low sets or cross screens. Half-court execution and spacing. The Celtics were deadly in the half-court with pristine ball movement, screening, and shooting. Bird and Ainge stretched the floor, while Johnson ran the offense with composure. They punished even slight breakdowns in defensive rotations. Elite team rebounding. Anchored by Bird, the best rebounding small forward of all time, Parrish, McHale, and Walton, Boston dominated the glass. They controlled tempo by ending possessions and initiating offense through outlet passes from elite bigs. Rodman's impact goes far beyond numbers. He led the league in rebounds at nearly 15 per game, often while guarding centers and forwards taller and heavier than him. Against Boston's massive front court, his ability to neutralize second-chance points and start transition would be critical. Plus, his defensive versatility would let him guard McHale, Parrish, and even Bird at times. His tenacity would throw off Boston's rhythm though his volatility could also be a liability depending on officiating and composure. Walton was healthy, active, and unselfish in '86. Coming off the bench, he provided elite defense, rebounding, and high IQ passing. He allowed Boston starters to rest without drop-off and gave them another low-post hub to run offense through. Against a team like Chicago, Walton would be crucial in minimizing Chicago's edge and bench depth. His ability to outsmart younger bigs like Luke Longley or rebound against Rodman would be a massive swing factor. 11 championships, master of ego management and tactical adaptations, triangle offense execution and in-game adjustments, mind games, motivational wizardry. 2 championships as head coach, brilliant at managing talent and egos, prioritized flow and execution but was not known for constant tactical adjustments, relied more on letting his Hall of Famers play their game. Edge, Chicago Bulls. Phil Jackson's ability to adapt series to series and in-game makes a difference. Jones was respected but leaned more on his veterans to self-correct. Let's now break this fantasy clash down by category. Offensive execution. Celtics, more structured half-court brilliance, Bird's vision, McHale's post-ups, and Walton's bench orchestration give them a flow that's hard to disrupt. The Bulls, efficient but more reliant on Jordan's scoring. They struggle in the post against Boston's size but thrive in transition. The edge goes to the Celtics. Defensive edge. Bulls' wing defense with Jordan, Pippen, and Harper is unmatched. They limit Bird's off-ball freedom and challenge entry passes. Celtics solid defenders, especially DJ and McHale, but more vulnerable to quick, dynamic wings. Defensive edge goes to the Bulls. Rebounding. Celtics has Bird, Parrish, McHale, Walton, towering, coordinated. The Bulls, Rodman leads the way, but they'd be undersized, so the edge goes to the Celtics. Bench production. Celtics. Walton is a game changer. Jerry Sichting provided backup point guard depth and clutch shooting. For the Bulls, Kukoc, Buechler, and Kerr, shooters and secondary playmakers. So the edge, even. Celtics have a big man depth, Bulls have perimeter scoring. Intangibles and mental toughness. Both teams are filled with warriors. Jordan's killer instinct versus Bird's swagger and cold-blooded execution. Edge, even, but Jordan may tilt close games late. So who wins in an intense 7-game series between the 1996 Chicago Bulls, the 1986 Boston Celtics? Now, as you saw, these guys have many key aspects of their game. Boston having the big man advantage and Chicago having the pace and defensive capabilities that could really give the Boston Celtics trouble in 7 games. As far as coaching, Phil Jackson is probably the better coach, but Casey Jones knows to lean on his team to get the job done when the stakes are high. So who wins in the end, and how do I see this series going? Well, probably no surprise to most that know the channel, but I got to give it to 96 Chicago Bulls. Probably 4-2, so they take it in 6. As tough interior-wise as the Boston Celtics would be, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, even Larry Bird would have to deal with the constant pressure that Chicago put on their perimeter players. So having to deal with long, lengthy guards and wings, their passes, their pick and roll, everything would have to be almost perfect throughout a 7-game series. And when you factor in Jordan and even the relentless defender that Dennis Rodman is against maybe Parrish or even McHale, he would get under someone's skin and probably cause a lot of havoc, which would make it easy for him to crash those boards and get some easy transition buckets for those Chicago Bulls team. So I got to go with the Chicago Bulls. Although I think it would be a highly entertaining series and a very tough and physical series, I think in the end, the athleticism of the Chicago Bulls would shine through. And just the fact that they were just a well-oiled machine. The triangle would probably give the Boston Celtics trouble as far as defensively. And I just don't think they have enough to take down the Bulls in 7 games. So in the end, while both teams are legendary, the Bulls' edge in perimeter defense, Michael Jordan's unmatched late-game brilliance, and Phil Jackson's ability to adjust mid-series pushed them over the top. Boston has better size, better post scoring, a pristine half-court execution. Chicago's defensive wings, fast break execution, and the presence of the game's most competitive superstar gives them the margin of victory, in my opinion. That said, if the series were played 10 times, it might go 6-4 either way, depending on health, officiating, and tempo. At their respective peaks, there's no denying the 96 Bulls win this again, as I said, in 6 games. But what do you all think? You think the 86 Boston Celtics could take down the 96 Chicago Bulls in a 7-game series? If so, let me know in the comments. If you agree with my assessment, also let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and got this far, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Help us get to that 3,000 sub goal to help keep the channel moving. Thank you, and be back soon with more content.